When scrubbing through the sequence, the set frames pass by quickly. To improve the animation, we want to modify the rate of change to create a smooth transition into and out of each step, instead of the linear rate produced by the slider. Between the slider and the evaluate curve component, we will add a series of components to modify the number value. For this, we use a GraphMapper. Right-click on the component, and in the Graph Types menu, select Bezier. Drag the handles to give it an S-curve shape. When the slider moves into the range of this graph, you see a red line marking the X value input. The output will be the Y value where that red line intersects the graph. With this graph shape, there will be a gradual change at first, then a rapid change, then a gradual change as the input value approaches 1. Notice that when the red line moves beyond the right edge of the graph, the value remains at the graph's last value, in this case 1. In order to apply the transition to each step of the image morphing, the GraphMapper output will replace the decimal portion of the slider value. Remember that each mesh frame is at a whole number. Using the evaluate component, input the function floor of x with a panel to return the whole number value of the slider. Subtract this from the slider to isolate the decimal portion and feed that value into the GraphMapper. Testing the slider shows that the red line now resets back to the left each time the value goes from 0.99 to 0.01. Add the adjusted decimal back onto the whole number portion, and the image will cycle correctly. It is possible to improve even a little more by changing the domain of the graph. Double-click and change the XO and X1 values to 0.2 and 0.9 respectively. This will create a pause in the action while the value is off the chart. To create animation frames, right-click on the slider and select Animate. Set the folder, the file name. Note that this should be a PNG file and not a JPEG. Assign the correct viewport, resolution, and the number of frames to export. For more control, create a dedicated viewport for animations using New Floating Viewport. Use viewport properties to set the width and height. And save it with named views. Then return to the slider animation menu to export frames. Using Photoshop, go to File, Open. Select only the first image and check the box for image sequence before confirming. Adjust the frame rate if necessary. To view the animation, open the timeline window. To export a video file, go to File, Export and Render Video. Check that the file name and folder are correct and that the size matches the document. Leave the default settings for H.264 format and click Render.